Our next guest is synonymous with military on the PGA Tour. As a graduate of the Naval Academy and former naval officer, Billy Hurley III authored what many have called the story of the year on the PGA Tour last year by winning the Quicken Loans National. Making the most of an exemption invitation, he held off surges from Hall of Famers Ernie Els and Vijay Singh for a three-stroke victory to claim his first PGA Tour win. We're proud to call Billy a friend of ours and our champion. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your 2016 Quicken Loans National champion, Billy Hurley III. Billy, first off, thanks for joining us. I know yesterday we saw you kind of tackling the island green at TPC Sawgrass.
It tackled me yesterday.
Tackled many. You're off to Dallas from here. It means a lot that you made time to join us all here today.
Absolutely, yeah.
Take us back to last year. You've just won the Quicken Loans National. You've raised the trophy on the 18th green featuring our nation's capital. Before going off to the media center, you signed the last note of appreciation on the hero's wall, flanked by two naval officers. What do you think of when you think back to your first win?
Well, it was career-changing for sure. You know, I mean, to win any tournament on the PGA Tour, like, sign me up. Okay, I'll do it. But to win the Quicken Loans National, to hold the trophy with Tiger, to, you know, sign the wall with two petty officers in the Navy next to me. I mean, you know, it was storybook stuff for me. And you know, being the only military veteran on the PGA Tour, it was just, you know, couldn't think of a better place to win.
How has, now we're almost a year from that point in time, how has your life on the tour changed since becoming a PGA Tour winner?
Well, I think I'm a little more comfortable on tour now. I mean, obviously you have an exemption and you have, you know, some better tee times and more access to tournaments and you know, hopefully a better parking spot in a couple of weeks out here.
We've got you covered.
You know, so you know, but you know, so you have like those little perks which are great, but it also is more, you know, it's just there's a comfort level of having done it, and you know, so now we're trying to get closer and closer and do it again.
Those who follow you on social media will see that you've gotten behind the red, the Remember Everyone Deployed movement, wearing red on Fridays. How did you become involved with that movement?
So some friends of mine kind of told me about it and kind of said, hey, this is something we should own. Like, I mean, you're the guy to really push this idea forward. It's been around for a long time, but we've kind of taken a hold of Red Friday. Red stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. And, you know, just a way to subtly, you know, honor our military and push some, you know, exposure and publicity out there, you know, to remember the people that are away from their families right now and doing things to defend our country.
Of course. At the tournament this year on Friday, we're actually going to have everyone who signs the Military Heroes Wall sign it in red in honor of the Red Movement.
Great, that's awesome.
So you'll notice that out there. You debuted a new bag this week, kind of paying homage to your time as a naval officer. How did that get designed, and where did that inspiration come from?
Yeah, my caddy actually designed it. You know, we don't have a sponsor on the bag, so, you know, but so we're open to sponsors, is what I mean. But so in the meantime, we said, well, hey, let's make one that looks like a ship. And, you know, so it's haze gray, like a ship. That's the color, haze gray. And, you know, it has a 93 on the side, which is the whole number of the destroyer that I was on. And it has my SWO pin and it has, you know, some other naval phrases, don't give up the ship, on the bottom of the bag. And so it turned out to look really awesome. You know, it's really a cool, sharp-looking bag. And it was received really, really well by players and fans and the media alike last week.
I think I saw a Beat Army on the bag.
Yeah,
as well,
that's
right?
there too.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to leave that off.
Let's turn to TPC Potomac. You practice here. Obviously, first time for the Quicken Loans National coming here in our history. What can you and your fellow PGA Tour pros expect next June?
Well, I think it's going to be a hard test. It's a good golf course. It's a tough golf course. We get away from Congressional, and the how hard that place is, but this isn't going to be any less difficult. It's just a different kind of difficult than Congressional. But this Potomac here is in top-notch shape every week throughout the year. So I expect that we'll all really enjoy a fabulously manicured course, and I don't think you're going to see maybe somebody gets it to 10 or 12 under, but it's not going to be 20 under to win a golf tournament here.
Do we have any questions for Billy in the crowd? I know we have a few microphones left and right, so if you could just raise your hand and state your media outlet before saying your question, that'd be appreciated.
Billy, this is Garrett Johnson, Southland Golf Magazine. I was just curious, when you look at the people who are most influential in your golf career, who stands out in that area? And then for the everyday golfer, a follow-up, what's a tip that you tend to give to your Pro-Am partners out just on the PGA Tour for these events here?
My progression through golf kind of just occurred naturally in that sense. My dad was really instrumental in getting me into golf and then kind of got me to a certain point. And then I think the best thing my dad did for me was recognize that he could only get me to a certain point. And then, pushed me into, professional instruction from a local PGA pro here in the area, Mark Guttenberg, and then Pat Owen was my college coach, who was really instrumental in developing my game through college at the Naval Academy, and now I work with Mitchell Spearman on tour. So the progression is kind of just, gone that way for me. I think, like I said, probably the best thing for me was my dad really realizing that I needed, somebody else to keep, progressing in that sense. Tips, most of my Pro-Am partners, I encourage them to try tennis. And, it's funny, every Wednesday on tour, I see shots that I don't have. I cannot hit that shot. So it in one way, that's quite impressive. But as far as, tips generally, I look at golf in the sense that 80% of golf happens before we swing the club. Whether that's choosing the club you're going to hit, the shot you're going to hit, the target you're going to take, stance, grip, posture, all those things. If you don't do that right, it doesn't matter what your swing looks like. And so oftentimes the stuff that's before actually swinging forces you to make a bad swing, because if you're aimed 30 yards right, you can't make a good swing and hit a good shot. If you have a 5-iron when you should have a 7-iron, then you can't make a good swing and hit a good shot. So that's really what I think about as far as most people could improve their game just by the fundamentals of setting up and thinking through the shot.
Sir.
Keith Jones, Teed Up Radio Network. Good to see you, Mike. First of all, kudos to you. You've been on the show numerous times, and it's been a great interview, and your interviewing skills have really stepped up, so I want to commend you on that.
Thanks, Keith.
Very nicely job. To you, Billy, congratulations. Two things. One about sponsorship. No sponsor on your bag. Lots of logos on your shirt. Coming in as a defending champion, talk about that and the feeling there, and then also about the sponsors that have come after you won your first event.
Yeah, I mean, I joke about sponsorship, but I have a great, team of sponsors around me. The Valspar Corporation's been with me for 4 or 5 years. The Solenis is a chemical company in Wilmington, Delaware, who's been with me for 4 years or so. And then new this year is Leidos, and they're a defense contractor, actually did a big merger with Lockheed Martin, so they're kind of a big part of this event as well. And so, I couldn't be more thrilled with the sponsors that I do have. Yeah, I want to defend more. It's definitely in one sense it's you might wish we were playing Congressional again, because I've played and competed there very, very well. In another sense, it's great to be here at Potomac, and maybe I can have a little leg up on guys because I've probably played the course more than anybody else on tour.
Yeah, hey, Billy, Gene Wong with the Washington Post. I'm just curious, with your busy golf schedule, if you have, how much time, if at all, do you have to keep up with Navy athletics, and just your thoughts on the Army-Navy football game, Navy losing for the first time in 14 years.
I pay attention. And you know, we can make a whole bunch of excuses about injuries and you know, having a sophomore quarterback having to start his first ever game at the college level in the Army-Navy game, and I mean, obviously all that's true, but Army played a great game, and we're just going to make sure they don't actually have a streak.
Sir?
Billy, Dave Lucas from News Channel 8. Gene opened the door. I want to get you to walk through the admirals at the academy want the graduates to do their military service. You did that. What are your feelings?
Well, I mean, I want to correct you in one sense because, you know, I think that the Naval Academy has a different, maybe a different position on this than actually the Secretary of Defense is the one who canceled the policy, not the Naval Academy or any of the superintendents who run service academies. But it's a tough thing there. I believe that we can use people in different capacities than traditional naval officers. You know, we're truly talking about one or two guys every 3 or 4 years, right? And you know, I applied for those policies. The one that was just canceled was being discussed when I graduated, and I applied under the policy that still exists now, where you serve 2 years active duty and then have 6 years in the reserves after that. And you know, I applied under that policy to serve my country, not to get out of my commitment, but to serve my country and just serve in a different capacity. And I think that if you talk to Mitch Harris, if you talk to Joe Greenspan, if you talk to Keenan Reynolds, Joe Cardona, and Chris Swain, like the guys who are doing it right now, like that's the way we think about it. We are serving our country. And none of us have ever tried to get out of a commitment. None of us want to run from a commitment. We want to serve our country, and those guys are serving their country. So, I mean, that's my take on it, having been in it. I mean, I did serve 5 years and was, you know, completely honored to do that, and it was the commitment that I signed up for. And so I think that there's unique ways that we use people all the time inside of the military, and that's one way that we could use people a little bit more than we do. But I just want to dispel the belief that anybody's trying to get out of serving or get out of a commitment. It's just serving in a different capacity. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Hey, Billy. Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun Media Group in the capital in Annapolis, your hometown. Hey, you had mentioned you've played this course quite a bit. How many times have you played? When was the last time you played? Was it in a competitive environment or just around? And then secondly, dovetailing off that question, what do you think of the idea that's been put forward of letting guys play but then serve the 5-year commitment after their professional career concludes? You know, Keenan Reynolds may have a 5-year NFL career. He could then serve his full 5-year active duty commitment afterward. But do you think that is an idea that could work?
So regarding the golf course, you know, I practice here a good bit. You know, I played actually the web.com event that was here in 2013. I played in that tournament, and I haven't actually played the golf course, and I don't think I've played the golf course this calendar year, just being traveling and everything. You know, most of my time when I am here is primarily practicing and maybe go play a couple of holes here or there. You know, I read a little bit about the policy or the idea that you're talking about. I think, you know, a Washington Post writer wrote that article, and I think that that's a way we could do it. I think that there are a lot of creative ways to do it. I think that the policy that we have in place is fine. I think that the policy that Keenan Reynolds and Joe Cardona and a couple others were given is also a way that we can do it. It just requires, you know, creative thinking, and you know, we're not necessarily great at that in the military, and so it just requires kind of a little bit of an out of the box kind of way to use things. You know, it's kind of funny. The policy was primarily written for football and basketball players, and so when I applied for it, they didn't really know what to do with me. And you know, is one of the things that they want you to have is a contract with a sports team. And it's like those don't exist in golf, right? You don't. No one has a contract out here except for, you know, maybe a 2-year exemption for winning and that kind of stuff. But it's definitely a delicate balance, and just the chord on that I want to make sure we strike is that nobody's trying to get out of a commitment. We're trying to serve our country and serve in any way that the country would have us serve.
This tournament has obviously meant a lot to you, being so close to your hometown. When you tee it up at the Quicken Loans National, knowing that friends and family are everywhere, does that change your mindset going into the week? Is it easier, tougher to kind of go in through the week?
It makes you have to talk to player services a lot more to get tickets, which you guys are very gracious to give me a lot of tickets, which is awesome to have so many friends and family out here. You know, in one sense, it kind of puts a little more pressure on you. I think, you know, you have a lot of people here. I mean, I know even last year, you know, people are like, oh, you finished top 10 here twice, like you're a shoo-in, you're going to be right there. It's like, it's not quite that easy. It turned out to look that easy. But, you know, I think that people don't generally understand how hard golf is and how kind of weird it is. I mean, you look at Siwoo Kim, won last week by 3 shots. I mean, I don't think he had a top 25 on tour, maybe one top 25 this year, and you know, 8-10 missed cuts, and that's just golf. I mean, that's just how it is. And I mean, you could say the same thing about me before I won last year too. So, you know, I love having the support, and I love having friends and family around, and it'll be fun to play here again near my hometown.
Excellent. And just to kind of put a bow on this, thanks again for your time. But what is the one thing that you're looking most forward to when you step on that tee, announced as the defending Quicken Loans National champion?
Well, you know, I remember the first time that I was announced as you know, in Vegas earlier in the fall. They kind of announced everybody who had kind of won. They were announcing, you know, and I was on the first tee on Thursday, and they said the 2016 Quicken Loans National champion, Billy Hurley III. And there was literally a half a second, and it goes, oh yeah, it is me. That is okay. Yeah, I mean, it's my turn. And so I think that'll be, you know, really special. I mean, I can only just imagine the cheers and applause on the first tee Thursday, and so that's going to be really special.
Well, you have a lot of fans here, and it's no surprise why. So thanks again for everything you've done, not only for this tournament, but for our country, and obviously we'll be rooting for you out here in next month.